This video highlights the revised guidance for the Initial Operational Response, or IOR, to CBRN incidents, which focuses on terrorist incidents involving CBRN agents. The primary objectives of the Initial Operational Response, or IOR, are to maximise the safety of the public and save lives, minimise the operational risks to responders, and to ensure an effective transition to the specialist operational response. The first 15 minutes are the most critical for undertaking life-saving activity. CBRN events are rare, but they do happen, and when they do, prompt and appropriate action will save lives. The Initial Operational Response, or IOR, highlighted in this film, is based on up-to-date scientific research and lessons identified from exercises and real incidents. This knowledge is vital in the event of a CBRN incident. Each year, well over 1,000 CBRN incidents are reported, including white powder incidents, hazmat incidents involving exposure to swimming pool chemicals, and incidents that occurred on farms or involved agricultural chemicals.
Ambulance service, what's the address of the emergency?
The initial operational response commences following first contact with the emergency services, including the NHS.
Immediate life-saving advice can be provided while determining a coordinated, controlled and consistent response. The devastating attack in Salisbury using nerve agent Novichok highlights the need for vigilance and the importance of early recognition of signs and symptoms. Control room staff and on-scene responders need to know the latest guidance. In this exercise, casualties waited 2 hours. Now the advice is that they should get help within the first 15 minutes.
Ambulance emergency, tell me exactly what's happened, please.
Oh, hi, yeah, I'm the receptionist at the centre.
The IOR should be initiated at the first point of contact, which may be via emergency control.
Yeah, I need an ambulance here urgently. We've got 3 people that are coughing and collapsing.
Help has been arranged, it's on its way to you with an emergency speed. I need to ask you some further questions, it's not delaying any help to you.
The call handler has 2 important jobs. They must gather as much intelligence as possible from the caller.
How many people are injured?
Help in here. I've got loads of people.
I think, I've got 5 I've got about 5 people that are sort of trying to bring here in the reception.
And provide them with the best advice.
How many people have you got there on site? Hold on, I'll find out from there.
Yeah, I've got...
If an incident results from a deliberate or malicious act, then it is CBRN related. If it's accidental or caused by nature, then it's known as hazmat.
Okay, what's the matter here?
CBRN issue. We've also had one come through from Rory, also from Sven.
At the first point of contact, it is important to determine the location of the incident and its scale. Identify whether it is CBRN related. For instance, why is it suspicious? Is it a high-profile location like a shopping centre or transport hub? Is there any intelligence to suggest a threat? Is it more likely to be a hazmat incident? For instance, is the location a chemical plant or refinery? Establish the signs and symptoms of the casualties and their number.
Hello, is that Southampton General? Yes, thank you. We've got a declared major incident at a leisure centre.
The ambulance service will alert the local emergency departments directly to such an incident. Or it might be that members of the public or casualties take themselves to ED.
Good morning, can I help?
In the case of walk-in surgeries, it's more likely they'll be alerted by self-presenters.
Can I ask you to just step back from the window for me, please? If you just walk straight back out the doors and turn right.
Those self-presenters or their escorts are a valuable source of information about the incident.
Okay. Thank you.
People affected by contamination could arrive at any building with an NHS logo, and that's why it's critical receptionists and other staff who may be their first point of contact are trained in the IOR principles.
901 control, methane report.
First responders to the scene should use the methane reporting tool according to the Jessup principles. It is a reality that one emergency service will arrive ahead of the others in response to an incident. This must not delay commencing life-saving activity. The RAR will assist NHS staff to assess a CBRN incident. Assessing an incident. Recognise, assess, react. Recognise. Use the 5 W's: what, where, why, who, when. What is happening? Where is it? Are there factors which make this location more attractive as a target or more vulnerable to an attack? For example, a significant event, iconic location, critical national infrastructure, and so on. Why is it suspicious? Has this been found as part of a venue search? And why was this search taking place? Who found it? Has anyone else seen it? If this is a member of the public, have their details been taken so that further information can be obtained if required? When was it found? Visual indicators. Was the offender seen to carry out a deliberate act? Where are they now? And in which direction did they leave? Any unusual or out of context liquids, powders, vapours, smells or tastes? Any unusual or unattended materials, devices or equipment? What are the physical symptoms? Physical symptoms. Casualties can be an indicator of a hazardous substance incident and should be considered in conjunction with other indicators and signs or symptoms. These may include, but not limited to, the physical symptoms of disorientation and sweating, twitching and convulsions, airway irritation and breathing difficulties, eye and skin irritation, nausea and vomiting. Without sufficient medical training, it can be difficult to recognize the cause of specific symptoms. Using the CREST tool to report back key information could help health services identify the type and nature of the hazardous substance incident. Assess. The acronym BAD COLDS may be a useful way of remembering assessment. B is for behaviour. What did the substance behave like? Is this off-gassing from a container? Is the vapour heavier than air and sinking to the ground, or lighter than air and rising? Did it fall to the floor in a soggy lump, or is the substance remaining in the same place, or is it diluting or travelling with the wind? A is for appearance. Is it a powder, liquid, gel, or a solid? How much is there, etc. D is for dissemination. Was it thrown, sprayed, mechanically spread, or delivered? C is for colour. Is it pure white, off-white, yellow, or multicoloured? O is for odour. Did it smell? Under no circumstances should responders deliberately smell a substance as a means of determining whether it has an odour or not. L is for likeness. Does it look like something you know? D is for deliberate. Did the release of the substance appear deliberate or accidental? S is for symptoms. Is anyone exhibiting any symptoms? Under no circumstances should frontline responders be exposed to known or suspected hazardous substances in order to obtain the above information. Priority communication to responders.
Do not take risks without appropriate training and considering the use of available PPE.
If there are incapacitated casualties for no explainable reason, you must not proceed any closer. Approach the incident ideally from an uphill or upwind direction. Use caution. Keep a safe distance to avoid exposure to yourselves. Tell those affected to remove themselves from the immediate area, ideally uphill and upwind, to avoid further exposure to the substance. Fresh air is important. If skin is itching or in pain, find a water source. Remove outer clothing. Try to avoid pulling clothes over the head if possible. Do not smoke, eat or drink. Do not pull off clothing stuck to skin. Remove the substance from the skin using a dry, absorbent material to either soak it up or brush it off. Rinse continually with water if skin is itching or in pain. This should commence within 15 minutes. Non-ambulant casualties must be removed by the fire and rescue service.
You need to take your clothes off where you are, stay there, drop your clothes in a pile and come towards me.
Communicate to casualties as soon as possible and continue throughout the incident.
Come this way, you're going to be fine.
Accurate and continued dialogue helps to foster trust and confidence. Advise casualties that they should avoid eating, drinking, smoking, or touching their face and eyes, as this can increase the risk of further contamination through ingestion, inhalation, and absorption. They should continue to move away upwind and preferably uphill from the release. They should not leave the area to seek hospital care, as by doing so they may be putting themselves or others at risk by exposing them to contaminants which may be on their clothing or skin.
And I'm going to throw you some blue roll. Blow your nose, wipe your face, pat your hair and wipe down any exposed skin to the contaminant.
This response from the outset of a hazmat CBRN incident will give the patient the best possible health outcome. It will also ensure a proportionate response, keeping disruption to a minimum and allowing the NHS to operate most effectively for the greatest number of patients. For further information, contact your emergency planning departments or the hazmat CBRN leads in your trust.